Get ready for the world's biggest reggaeton show. It's going to be
But I don't speak Spanish.
unforgettable.
Melissa McCarthy.
Super Bowl 60's in the books. These are not highlights, clearly, but of course the Seahawks were the winners. Bad Bunny had the halftime show, but then there are the ads. Yeah, this is what we're talking about. Joining us live again this morning. Look at the top 5 viewed ads on the Super Bowl on YouTube is Peter Hand.
Yeah, he's the head of video strategy for YouTube Canada. Peter, good morning, and thanks so much for joining us again. So the Super Bowl happened. All the ads took place. We get to watch them on YouTube, but before we get into them, I'm just wondering if there were some kind of key themes you noticed amongst the ads this year.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about nostalgia and witty wordplay last week. We know that those continued to play out last night. There were a couple of other trends that were a little newer to me as well. But in the witty wordplay, we saw, last week I talked about Will Shatner and Will Shat. We also saw that Bueno by Kinder started playing with this idea of no bueno and was turning you could turn any no bueno situation into a yes bueno situation by just reaching for it. That was a fun one. And nostalgia, we'll talk a little bit in the top 5. I think nostalgia actually came up with Utah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, and this is the art list that we've got running now here. Let's talk about this one. What stood out to you about this one, Peter?
So, this was coming in at number 5. This was sort of showing really interesting behind the scenes from the other Super Bowl ads, using, their technology to kind of showcase how quickly you can stand up a really fun, scrappy idea. Clearly AI is like a topic in the zeitgeist, whether people were using it for the actual ads like Artlist was, or whether it was sort of featured in the ad itself, like number 2, we're going to talk a little bit more about. But either way, really interesting, really funny. You could see there tapping into all the different kind of big game day spots.
Right, right.
Okay, yeah, I love it. That hot dog. Wow. Sure slid down that chair or whatever. Next up, let's move to Michelob Ultra.
Michelob. Yeah.
Is it Michelob Ultra?
Yeah.
So I'm not pronouncing it right. But this featured an athlete and Kurt Russell as an instructor.
Yeah, big Olympics crossover here. But the thing that jumped out for me was Kurt Russell in this classic 80s trope character. We talked nostalgia, right? He took you through the most nostalgic 80s style montage of training this guy how to be a better skier. I laughed so hard at this thing, and personally, if they turned this into a movie, I'd watch it.
Yeah, I'm a huge Kurt Russell fan, and yeah, I'm with you indeed. That was Kirk Russell. Yeah, so much fun there, no doubt about that one. That was a good one. Okay, E.l.f. Cosmetics, which we came up on this segment on here. Melissa McCarthy starring in a couple of roles in this one.
Yes, this one was so good. I mean, to me, this kind of showcases the power of creativity on YouTube and how flexible storytelling can be. They didn't opt to make a 15-second ad here or a 30. They made a 2-minute telenovela style ad. Melissa McCarthy showing her getting prepared for the biggest reggaeton show of the year, but her lips aren't ready to tackle the Spanish, so E.l.f. Cosmetics has what she needs to get her lips reggaeton ready. It was hilarious and probably one of the standouts of the night for me.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go back and watch this one in full. It does look hilarious and also a bit retro too, so staying on theme. All right, sitting at number 2 for you, Peter, we have Google, and this is all about AI, the Google Home, and expansion of that. What did you like about this one?
Well, obviously it's featuring this really incredible technology. I think what really jumped out to me was kind of the human insight and human connection underneath it. We've all been in a situation of moving to a new place and not knowing what it's going to take to make it really feel like home. Especially for me, the storyline here between, the mother and the son. As a new parent, it kind of really, really hit me right in the feels. Overall, a really, really incredible spot, super heartwarming, and felt really real.
Yeah, that is interesting. You sort of dream with AI in a way and sort of organize or visualize, I should say. Yeah, that's cool. Expedia, travel, always a big deal. And Expedia had an interesting character in its ads, Peter.
I was feeling the Kenergy with this one. With Ken, it was the 65th anniversary of Ken, and they showed him saying, you know what, after 65 years, let me mix it up and actually go, see the world, going on this incredible adventure, traveling all over. So I think people got really excited to see Ken in a different light. But beyond that, this campaign, they really did some fun stuff too. They really breathed some life into the character. They actually did a whole situation where you could interact with him on threads and have conversations back and forth with him. Travel advice and stuff like that. So this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And I'm not surprised the fans did either.
Yeah, it's very cool. A different perspective from Ken. And when he was sitting on that, look at his elbow. It's like he's got Tommy John surgery.
Yeah. Now, Peter, I'm curious, when it comes to YouTube, do you notice a big surge in use, like sort of during, say, the halftime show rather than when the action's on? Like, do you have a sense of the analytics and things like that last night, like when people were using it most?
That's what's so interesting about YouTube. Some of the language we used to use around this was to say, like, your prime time is personal. Because really, whenever you're choosing to watch the ads is ultimately your kind of peak time. So we do see people really, with the week before, all the way through the game. And then even, this morning, waking up bright and early, grabbing those views and watching their favorite ads.
Yeah, and they also go back and watch the halftime show because a lot of people loved it. And it's interesting to gauge people's thoughts when you read the comments. So it really is kind of the mecca for where kind of people's ideas come to ruminate after. Peter Hand, thank you so much for joining us from YouTube once again. Appreciate your thoughts, and this has been fun.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Peter.
it.
Thank you for having me.